Hello, 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 and welcome to my review of the first episode of season 2 of a series of unfortunate events. Now, I know I promised to do Clone Wars, but right now I'm in the mood for a series of unfortunate events. So let's start. Now, I'm a big fan of the books. Ever since my teacher introduced me to them in year 4, I have been a huge fan. I read them 3 hours in a day without any lunch breaks because I was so intrigued. I read them 1,000 times. It's just I liked them so much. I started with book 5. Then went all the way to book 13, then went back to the reptile room, then I read The Miserable Mill, then I was kind of out of order by it. I understood everything. So I understood the tone, and I was really hyped for for the Netflix show. The first season, I would say, was a success. I think that my least favorite episodes were probably the Miserable Mill ones, and I still was very excited for season 2. So here is my review. So I wanted to start with discussing the characters. In the book, there is a character, Carmelita Spatz, who is basically an awful schoolgirl who calls the Baudelaire's cake sniffers like cake sniffing orphans in the orphan shack. And I think she was done excellently. Her personality was portrayed so well by the annoying actress. Her is sort of very, annoying side, whiny side, very sort of selfish side, all was portrayed great. And I think she was even more terrible than in the book. Then we have Vice Principal Nero, who was a very interesting character who I hoped they would give a bit more character development when I read the books. He was the vice principal who was basically an awful violinist who had those concerts. And I remember in my trailer breakdown, I said that this would be the excellent Vice Principal Nero because he's so despicable and everything. Well, I was wrong. He's still a great Vice Principal Nero, a very good one, but not in the sense that he's disgusting and terrible, but that he's actually very funny and comedical. A side that really wasn't is really shown in the books. However, in the film, I don't remember the actor's name. I read it up, but I forgot it. I absolutely loved his portrayal. It was so funny. He knew how to make this character work in the best way. And so did the screenwriters, since his dialogue is amazing. After that, we of course have the Quagmire triplets with their brother Quigley, who died. Now, spoilers for season 3, the books of season 3. So skip a bit, like 10 or 15 seconds. If you don't want it. Quagmire was of course survived, but because basically Quigley isn't part of the story because he died in the fire, the Quagmires are now were called twins when they were actually triplets. The Quagmires, once again, I think it was a perfect casting choice. Those kids, just like the Baudelaires, were very, charismatic and very fun and very nice, and I really did enjoy them. I think the VFD stuff in this one was probably executed well because the VFD organization wasn't originally part of the books until it was like book 7, or should I say like until 9, I would say. But now that VFD, the secret organization that their parents were part of, is introduced here, it's always pushed into the episode. I think here it was done excellently. And also now let's speak about the new additions to the story. Olivia Caliban. Olivia Caliban was, of course, a volunteer of the VFD service who pretended to be a fortune teller in book 9. But you know the difference here. Here, Olivia Caliban starts out as a school librarian who knows nothing of the VFD so far. And Olaf always finds out where the Baudelaires are in a different in different circumstances. Whereas in the books, Olaf was specifically told the location of the Baudelaires by Madame Lulu, Olivia Caliban, as we find out in book 9. And she was just acting along and always revealing the locations of the children to him. So she was always pretending to be a fortune teller, and she wasn't part of book 5, 6, 7, or 8. Then we have Jack Snicket. I think it's another one of those very good casting choices, and I really liked him being introduced here in this episode, like a James Bond kind of style, where he's like and Larry is like Snicket, and he's like Jack Snicket. Then, of course, we have Larry, your waiter, who I didn't like in the first season, and I like him even less in this episode, like at all. And then now let's go on to other stuff. The execution of the basic really feel of the book. I really enjoyed the cafeteria aspect of how they gave those little details, like the apples being rotten and the bananas too. Just a little detail that isn't really shown much, but was very great. K. Toad Freeman, I don't quite remember, I think that's the name, is once again hilarious as Mr. Poe, advertising another book of Daniel Handler, aka Lemony Snicket, The Pony Party.
It features the 3 luckiest children in the world who are darling and precocious and have one of the most cheerful things happen to them. It's called The Pony Party, and I can't put it down, Mr. Tamerlane.
Which I did not read, but I think I read about it on Lemony Snicket wiki, but I still don't quite get it. Then, of course, the cafeteria servant in this version is Larry, trying to put the book to explain to the Baudelaires of the whole situation. Whereas in the book, the servants of the cafeteria were actually 2 women in iron metal masks on their faces. And they actually, at the end of the book, turned out to be Count Olaf's women with the white makeup on their faces, or the white skin, I don't remember, pretending to be them. And I really didn't enjoy that aspect was skipped over, but I did like it. Then Couch Genghis, hilarious disguise. Count Olaf's hilarious disguise as the gym teacher Couch Genghis. He is just as I imagine him in the book as he was described, with the white turban, with the red gem on it, and having those sort of very sporty aspects about his character. Also, I absolutely loved the end when Couch Genghis is like, and I am here to school you. That was a very scary and sort of ending. And also when they pushed Larry into the freezer, I thought that was the end of him, and I was like, oh, that's very brutal. But I'm very happy that he was rescued by Jack Snicket. I don't remember, was it in the next episode? But overall, I really did enjoy this one. It has a very unique feel and some very unique moments, yet stays loyal to the book. It really has a great art style and really shows the atmosphere and the feel that the book gave me and turns it onto the silver screen. So I give this one a fortunate. This is how I'm judging them. My good mark is fortunate and my bad mark is unfortunate, and this one definitely gets fortunate. Now on to the last part of this review, which is an end segment. So basically, I am going to give at the end of the episode, like this segment, some ideas about an additional scene or conversation or something I would think the episode would be greater if I added. This is completely from my imagination. Today one is considering the book where the ladies with the white faces were wearing the masks. So I'll act it out with the voices. Violet asked, Vice Principal Nero, why are those women wearing those very strange masks in the cafeteria? It's really suspicious. And Vice Principal Nero was like, well, I don't know. It could be for several reasons, but I assume that it is because they need to keep their faces clean and from the bacteria on their face falling into the food. Like we know all those cooks wear those hats on their heads when they're cooking. So I assume the same thing goes for those women who want no bacteria on their face to get into the food. I assume that explains it, Violet Baudelaire. Well, it really doesn't, but I guess that's an appropriate answer. Thank you, Vice Principal Nero. So that's it. Thank you. Subscribe to the channel.